Good evening, good evening, good evening. What's up, Facebook family? Hey, listen, y'all. We are here for part 2 of Cheating
for the Holidays.
Yes, and I know it's a crazy title, but we did that on purpose because it's a crazy situation to be in. But it's okay. We will get out of it. All right. Okay. Well, hey, so listen, this is part 2. So we did part 1 last week.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that video last time we checked was close to 8,000 or some 7,000 or 8,000 people who actually it's reached and still touching lives. Again, we are grateful. But before we go into this today, I'm going to ask you all, as always, please share. Please share. All right. Share. You'll see us looking down, and we're on our computer here. I know you can't see the computer, but we're on it. And so my wife right now, as an example, she's going on to share. She's sharing on probably her page or my page. Yeah. The reason we ask you all to share, ladies and gentlemen, is because we know that no one voice has all the answers. And so people have probably already been talking to their pastor. They've probably already been. That's okay, honey. That's okay. Okay, it's right here. The reason we ask you all to share, ladies. All right, hang on, guys. 1 second. No one voice has all the answers. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. She's sharing. That's what happened. Okay. So when you share, that happens. So listen, you all, we want to ask you again to please share. The reason is because no one voice has all the answers. So people probably been listening to pastors, been listening to therapists, or been listening to friends and family, and they've gotten some ideas and some things to help them. But we know that obviously everything they had to say is probably not all of it. And everything we have to say is not all of it. But when we hear all the voices, then we can get all of it. And so we ask you to share this because you don't know if these voices, our voices, are what your friends and family need to hear and our perspective to help bring them over the hump. And so share it with your friends, tag your family members, encourage them to listen. And it's not just for married people. I got to say this. A lot of single people, about 40% of our viewer base are single individuals. And we're talking about over 40,000 individuals that, hey, listen, they're not even married yet. And so here they are watching this. You would say, well, why would a single person enjoy watching the Covenant Marriage Academy Facebook teachings? Well, it's very simple. Doesn't it make sense? Wouldn't the instructions be more appropriate before you actually use them? And so to me, I think it would be powerful that a single person gets this information now before they get married. So not only do they know the rules of engagement, if you will, no pun intended, but also so that they can also be more properly equipped and know what to do once they engage, once they get into the marriage. So can't emphasize that enough. But let's go ahead and dive in here. Last week we talked about in part 1, and I encourage you to go back and watch that video if you didn't see it. In part 1, we talked about the subject of
imaginative cheating.
That's right.
Which is the first step. Just to remind you guys, it's where it only happens in your head first. You haven't actually physically made contact with someone else. You haven't actually, had conversations with that person. It could be an ex that you're imagining these relationships with. And again, this whole cheating series is about the 3 stages of cheating. So, and how it leads up to the very devastating physical cheating.
That's right.
And the craziest part about imaginative cheating is that when you are married, it creates so many terrible results in your marriage, because then your spouse can't hold a candle to your imagination.
That's right.
You understand? So that's when the enemy gets the opportunity to really minister to you. And I said minister to you, and to whisper his sweet nothings to you, because his whole idea is to accuse your spouse to you.
Yep.
Over and over again. He is the father of lies. He's the author of confusion. And his job is to make your spouse look bad and be the bad guy in your eyes. Again, last week we brought out how every story needs a villain.
Yep.
And you just have to make sure that the story of your life, your spouse, does not show up in your heart and in your mind as your villain.
That's right.
So yeah.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. My wife mentioned the physical cheating before the physical cheating starts. Let me say it this way. Most of the world addresses cheating from the final step. Mm-hmm. And here's what I mean by that is that physical cheating is the final step of the cheating process. And when I say final, I don't mean the end all be all. I mean that there was so much before that happened that goes unaddressed, that I don't hear pastors teaching on. I don't hear counselors talking about it. But that's where we have a chance to stop the problem, is in the formulation stages versus after the thing has already been created. Now there's a whole lot more damage that gets done in unraveling it. And so when we talk about cheating being the final step, the question then should arise in your mind, physical cheating rather, the question that should arise in our minds is basically, well, if that's the final step, what are these other steps, right? And so last week, that first step we talked about was the imaginative step, right? Because you may start having these, dreams, and, you're lost during the daytime, you're daydreaming, and you're thinking about that other person, right? And so it starts there. It's a thought, right? It's a thought. It starts with the thought. And it's interesting. I'll come back to this towards the end to make a good point on this, but that's where it starts. And then it moves on, right? And so when it moves on now, what happens is your heart starts getting involved with the other person, right? We're not necessarily talking about falling in love, but you start lusting, right? You start thinking, you start desiring the other individual. And so here's what we label that as. We would call that what, honey? Emotional cheating. That's right. Emotional cheating. That's what that is called, emotional cheating. So before the physical cheating occurs, emotional cheating takes place. Now, here's the crazy thing. All forms of emotional cheating don't feel like or aren't going to actually lead to physical cheating, right? It's like saying just because the window is open, it doesn't mean you can get in the house, right? Because the window may be open and you go and try to get in the house, you realize, well, it's not open enough. I can't fit in this little space. And so some people have emotional cheating where they're attached to another person, right? Emotionally, and they're not lusting after them. They're not thinking about them in any sexual way. It's not even going to go there. But emotional attachment in any way still is dangerous. And so emotional cheating would then be the extreme where the individual is actually now going through the lusting, going through the thinking about it. They've already had sex in their brain, in their mind, in their imagination. Now their heart's involved. Now their body is actually reacting and responding to this other individual. But yet they probably never even held hands. They probably never even kissed. They probably never even engaged in any type of physical contact, but their physical presence is now stimulating the other person physically. And so it's really important for us to understand this. But before we move on, honey, any comments you want to share about that part?
In terms of emotional cheating? Well, I think it's a very, very tricky story. I mean, a very, very tricky subject. And sometimes we're innocently engaged in it and we don't even know. I can actually share my story. As a matter of fact.
Actually, before you do that, honey, I want to say something to the folks.
Okay.
My wife is going to share a story with you, and this is a powerful story, y'all. In fact, it may even, I'll buy you a little time to go and tag some of your friends, because this is the part you don't want them to miss. This is strong. Now, before she shares that, though, I want to say this to you. Before someone actually engages in the emotional cheating, there is a step before that leads to that, right? So let's say the person is married or involved in a relationship. The part before that, the precursor to emotional cheating, would be that for some reason they turned either their heart away from their spouse or they turned their attention away from their spouse. And my wife and I'll give you an example. We do everything together. Like, we work together, we raise our kids together, we own businesses together, we make decisions. It's always about us together because we know that there is safety there, right? There is always temptation outside of here, right? No matter how much my wife believes I'm an Adonis and that, I'm the husband of the year, right? Guess what? As soon as she leaves this circle, Joe Blow is going to look real good. Adonis who? So, ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying is there's sanctity when you operate within the confines of your union. So we do everything in our union. Sidebar, by the way, you'll notice that when you're married, if everything you touch turns to gold, that would be 10-karat gold. But if you're doing it together, everything you touch turns to 24-karat gold. I'm telling you, everybody who's watching this right now that's been married and is happily married and understands the dynamic of the sanctity, I promise you they're shaking their head like, yup, you got it. That's exactly right. But I didn't know that going into marriage. I found that out after I got married. Now, everything I would do, I felt like would become successful eventually, and there was evidence of it. I'm not bragging, I'm just trying to make a point here. But when I got together with my wife, it's like everything got amplified. If before, she brushing her shoulders off, right? I did that to her. I did it to her. Go ahead. Come on. Okay, all right. See that? Equal opportunity husband. Yes. All right. So anyway, but you get the point, right? So let me come back to where I was going with this, and that the precursor is that you turned your heart away, that you turned your attention away. Something got you to look outside of your union. And here is usually where it comes from, right? And I want to kind of say all these things before my wife tells the story, because it'll really help with you understanding the story more. Yeah. Here's where all of that comes from. It's usually because the person who turned their heart away is trying to avoid conflict. Pay attention, this is really key. They're trying to avoid conflict, and or they don't have the best communication skills. Or maybe they do have great communication skills, but they don't want to communicate what's present, what is showing up, whatever lack they may be needing or feeling, because they don't want to incite conflict with their mate. And so think about this for a second. It's crazy when you finally realize, you say, whoa, the person that cheated usually cheated because of something that they weren't getting in the relationship. Yes. Or something they thought they weren't getting. Yes. So you mean to tell me, Obi, if that person had been getting that thing, they probably wouldn't have cheated? Yes. That's what we're saying. Now, of course, there are variables. Of course, some people are greedy and they're getting everything, but they still want more than they need and more than they're getting. So yes, we know those things exist, but we're talking about the majority of situations like this out there. And so it's really important for us to, again, remember, it starts because the person turned their heart away. They turned their heart away because some need was not being met. There was a lack that was present, and they were trying to avoid conflict and not speaking about it. This is one of the reasons why when the couple finally, maybe the wife is who was being cheated on, she finally finds out that the husband was cheating. And now they're having a conversation, and it's an explosive conversation because she's upset. But here's what usually happens. She now hears information from him that she never heard before. Yes. And if you pay attention to this, you'll see that the information that she never heard before were things that he could have talked about. But if you ask him in that moment, how come you never said these things? His justification falls under the category of avoiding conflict. Oh, you're too emotional and I didn't want to go there because you won't like to listen anyway. Avoiding conflict. Yeah. Oh, I didn't want to go there because every time I try to tell you something, you don't, I feel like I don't matter. Avoiding conflict. No matter which way you spin it, it's avoiding conflict. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I think when we know these things, when we know these rules of engagement, now you can create a situation with your spouse where you can say, hey, I don't care if you believe I'm too emotional. Hey, I don't care if you believe my temperament may not be the nicest at times. But please, baby, if you ever have a complaint about me, I need you to feel comfortable enough to come and complain to me about me. Right. That's a key that we use in our marriage. We have given each other room to complain to each other about each other. Because I don't want my wife complaining to her friend about me. What is that going to do to help us? Yeah. And besides, now she brings her friend into our bedroom. I don't want her complaining to me about our situation to her mom. What is that going to do to help us? Because now we're leaning on other people that don't have our problem to solve our problem. And who knows how qualified they are? Most of them are not. And so, ladies and gentlemen, one last comment on this, and my wife will share this story with you. Remember, the purpose of relationships is to get needs met. Yes. Let me say that one more time. The purpose of relationship is to get needs met. So the reason that you and your spouse work is because you're both meeting each other's needs. The reason most marriages don't work is because there is somebody who is selfish. In fact, a marriage is a union of two servants. The best way we've heard it put was, imagine if your hand were forks, right? Your arms were forks, and they were, 3 feet long. Now, if I was to try to pick up food with that fork and feed myself, there's not enough room to get to my mouth. Now, I need food to survive. Food is a primary need for my bride and for me. But if my hand is too long for me to feed myself, what's my option? Death? That's one. The other option is I can learn how to be a servant because my arm is too long to reach my mouth and hers is too long to reach her mouth. So doesn't it make sense? Hey, baby.
You feed me, I feed you.
Come on, feed me, baby. Y'all see how she tried not to feed me?
Sorry.
So I gotta mess with her, guys. We had a lot of fun. I mess with my wife all the time. She messes with me too, y'all. Don't get twisted. So look, so there's the deal. So that's the whole purpose of a marriage, is for two servants to feed each other, for two servants to meet each other's needs for life. Here's the mistake people make when they hear this information, though. They go and they say, yeah, I'm here to get my needs met.
Yeah.
That's selfish.
Yes, it is.
So yes, we know that the relationship, in order for it to work, you have to get your needs met, but you don't go in with the mindset of, I'm here to get my needs met. No, you go in with the mindset of, baby, I'm here to meet your needs.
And I'm here to meet your needs.
That's it. That's it. So when that's not occurring, cheating is one of the problems that happens. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting, because I looked at cheating as a symptom rather than the problem. It's a symptom, because if we look at it as the problem, yeah, you can get past it. It's going to happen again. Or maybe they don't cheat again, but some other thing will happen. So until you address the issue, all you're fixing is the symptoms. You can wipe your nose all day long until you get rid of the germ, the cold stays. And so, baby, I know you want to share the story.
Wow. That was powerful. I feel like
thank you.
I'm in class. You're such a great teacher.
Thank you,
that was very powerful. I don't have absolutely anything to add to that part, but what I want to say, just as an example, I came, and then some of you, I want you to see if you can see yourself in my example, in my story. I'm going to be very vulnerable right now. When I came into the relationship with my husband, I had friends. And again, there's nothing wrong with friends. There's nothing wrong with having friends. However, I had a male friend that I quote unquote said was a mental sparring partner. Now, I didn't realize how much I actually depended on this guy until his relationship, or our relationship, my relationship with this guy, started conflicting with my relationship with my husband. Right. And it really I thought he was my male best friend, remember? And I actually tried to invite him to our wedding. It was just crazy. And
that's actually how she introduced him to me too, because that's who she really had him as in her mind. Head. Right.
That he was my male best friend. Yeah. But fact is that I was leaning and depending on him for emotional support and to help me out through things that were tough. Now, we were engaged at the time. Mm-hmm. Fact is that the things that he was helping me with is, what I should have been going to my husband with. Right. If I'm having a tough time, if I'm, having a bad day, I need to go to my husband and to talk to him about it, or my future husband at the time, not to my, my mental sparring partner, my male best friend. Right. So again, we get into relationships to get our needs met. Right. So with me not even realizing the effect I was having, my husband noticed that there was a distance that was actually occurring in our love life and in our relationship, and he actually confronted me about it. And for a while, I tried to convince him that, oh no, honey, we've never been physical. Yeah. Which we hadn't. Yeah. We've never been physical, so everything's good. This guy, he's a great guy. Meet him. Right.
And so I gotta say, my wife was extremely sincere about that. Sincere, she was very honest with me about that.
I didn't realize.
She didn't look at it that way.
I did not, and I didn't realize the effect that this guy and how much I actually really depended on him. Right. So I set up a meeting between the three of us, and I was like, "Baby, you're gonna look." Oh my God. I'm like, baby, you're going to love him. He's so awesome. As a matter of fact, you guys have so much in common. You're going to love each other. And we met, the three of them met, the three of us met together, and it was the most awkward situation. Yep. Like my male best friend was just rude to my husband. He barely wanted to speak to him. And then when I told him, later on when we talked, I told him, I was like, what happened? Right. He was like, I was a little upset because I thought that I would be the one that you marry. Mm-hmm. Like, when were you going to tell me this? So fact is that he knew that I was depending on him emotionally, and obviously he was also depending on me, but he had never divulged the information to me. That's right. And he was actually as dependent on me for that relationship as I was for him. Right. Now, here's the deal. It's not that my husband could not provide the things for me that I was getting from this guy. It's just that I had never given my husband the opportunity to.
Mm-hmm.
And what's even crazier is that it wasn't until I let that relationship go. I said, no, I can't do this because this is affecting more than just, more than just my future with my husband.
Right.
It wasn't until that our relationship began to grow, and we really got to the next level in our relationship. And the beauty in that is that we truly began to experience the oneness that God promised that couples will have, that marriages will have, when they truly surrender everything.
Right.
They truly let all the baggage go.
Right.
And again, most of you are probably listening and hearing this story, and you're thinking, well, man, I have a male best friend. But think about it. When you're upset,
mm-hmm.
do you go to this male best friend
mm-hmm.
rather than your spouse?
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know what, I have a female best friend and she doesn't, my wife doesn't understand me like my female best friend does.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Have you really given your wife the opportunity to meet those emotional needs for you? Because it's so important for us to understand that for women, oh my God, it's such a big deal. We fall in love emotionally first and then physically for most of us, unless,
right.
We're dealing with physical abuse, not physical
right.
abuse,
Challenges.
but, childhood abuse or
mm-hmm.
what have you. And we have issues from that. But for the most part, we fall in love first emotionally before it actually leads to a physical relationship. So that is, I've seen marriages destroyed because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Literally destroyed and broken up because of an emotional relationship. And so many times we think that those relationships are safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then that spouse ends up giving that person
mm-hmm.
ends up giving our spouse or us advice that actually damages the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the crazy part about it. It's not always obvious to tell,
mm-hmm.
because in hindsight, as I look back, he would actually give me good sound advice
mm-hmm.
that actually helped our marriage.
mm-hmm.
But there were those times,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
again, there were those times that I would go to him about things that I didn't understand, and he had to always have a different perspective that he felt like was more elevated or higher than my husband's.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, but just little subtle differences, and sometimes we just don't know
mm-hmm.
how we're actually being affected.
That's right. That's right. And this is strong. First of all, baby, I'm proud of you just for even being strong enough to share that story publicly. That says a lot. And let me say this to you all. There are a lot of lessons to be learned in what my wife just said. But understand one or two things really quickly. One is this. Most of us know that men think about sex. I think that the number is like once every 1 minute and 120 seconds, like every 2 minutes, some crazy stat. In other words, we think of it a lot,
often,
right? Happens to us often,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but when you don't understand the purpose of that, you abuse it. So there's a saying that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So most people, because they don't understand why God allows men and wired, built us, designed us to think of sex that frequently, when they don't understand it, they use it to misjudge men. Let me tell you what sex means. I'm going to bring this full circle of what my wife just said. So sex for a man, the reason God designed us to think of sex frequently is to constantly keep drawing us back to our wife. Let me say that again. The reason we think of sex so much is that we keep being drawn back to our wife. Keep coming back to her. Keep coming back to her. So as men, we're nomads. We drift. We go build. We go conquer. We want to go away. We want to move and do things. But then guess what? We have that need. You come back to your wife. So no matter how far away you go, you got to stay close to home. Men, in case you haven't been noticing, you can stay close to home, all right? Wives, keep the gas station open. All right, so that's not my point, y'all. Sidebar, I digress. Okay, I promise. I'll be a good boy. I'll focus. Let me focus. So here's my point in with regards to her story. Why am I bringing this with regards to emotional cheating? Ladies, you need to understand something because the emotional cheating, for the most part, happens a lot with women because you all are more emotionally driven. Don't get me wrong, us men too, we have emotions. We're real people, and we have emotional affairs too. But let me say this to you all. The reason that God has allowed you to have, one of the reasons has allowed you to have the emotions is so that now you can go to your husband. So it would be your equivalent of sex. Think about this. We have a penis. It comes out. Women have a vagina. It goes in. Most men have short hair. Women have long hair. Do I have to keep going? There are these dualities that exist. So for us, it would be sex. For you all, it would be emotions. And so what I'm saying to you is be careful, because some women I hear say this, well, Obi, I only really just have that guy as a friend. Like, I love my husband. I love my boyfriend. I would never, ever have sex with the friend. I promise I would never do it. And I believe them. I really believe them. But what I'm saying to you is that that's like me saying, well, she only performs oral sex on me. I would not have vaginal sex with her. I promise you. Hey, it just the sound of that sounds absurd, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound ridiculous? Yes. Well, I'm trying to help you all understand that any emotional attachment that you have with someone else outside of your mate is just as ridiculous, no matter how much you believe you would never take it there. You just don't need to even be there, because here's what happens. The devil he can't make you do anything. The devil's power still needs our permission. But what he can do is orchestrate things around you based on your weakness, because he knows our weaknesses. So he orchestrates things around you based on your weakness, and then boom, you do the very thing you thought would never happen. You don't believe me? Never forget it. My wife and I, we had, as my brother Carlos Spencer would say, a heated fellowship. We were arguing, y'all. And so, and so you know what happened? I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm getting too fired up. I need to get out of here. So I walked out, and I'll be honest, I slammed the door behind me as I walked out. As soon as this happened, my wife probably knows what the story I'm talking about, right? As soon as this, I slammed the door, my phone rings. It's in my pocket. I pull out my phone. Guess who it was? My ex. My ex. I haven't talked to this woman in God knows how long. Why would you call me right now? Ladies and gentlemen.
For your future, even if you don't.
Oh my gosh, y'all got to get this. Yeah. Do not put yourself in any situation that may end up being something that you did not want. So, ladies, I hear you. I get it. Gentlemen, I hear you. I get it. You don't plan on it. You've never gone there. You guys don't even like each other. They're not your type. All of that doesn't matter. All you need is space and opportunity. All you need is for something to go wrong in your relationship for just a temporary moment. And then you make a permanent decision based on a temporary situation. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, all I'm trying to say is don't even put yourself in it. Don't even put yourself in it. My wife and I have rules that we live by. If you were involved with me prior to me getting married to my wife, I can't talk to you anymore. Like, seriously, you just got to cut off the challenges. You just got to cut off just cut them off. Trust me on this. I'm emphasizing this point for a reason, y'all. If I could bring everybody on here who in this world, on this planet, who said, man, I would never go there, and went there. Who said, man, I didn't even see them that way, and they saw them that way. Who said, man, I would never cheat on you with that person, and they did it. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, just don't
the right environment.
Even have it linger around you, because the devil will use it. I promise you. He does it. But most of us just don't even have our third eye with enough sight to be able to make the connection that, hey, she's calling me right now.
And you know what's crazy, baby, is some people think, oh, they're calling me. This must be meant to be. No, seriously, we're not laughing.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh at it.
Seriously, they really feel that, oh, they call me, so this must be meant to be. Yeah, it's meant to ruin your relationship. It's meant to ruin your marriage.
Yes.
So, and some people actually feel, oh, another point I forgot to share, as a matter of fact, how this affects men is that, and my husband didn't realize this, so it's something he had to clean up as well.
Yeah.
When we first got married, my husband's always trained and counseled women, and he's such a great guy.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you are, but he's such a great guy, and he's so compassionate. He loves people from a place of complete sincerity. So whether you are a man, whether you're a woman, or whatever, it doesn't matter. You have a problem and you're like in his organization or whatever, he is going to do his best to help you. However, some of the ladies, they would take advantage of that, and they would utilize his kindness to try to get closer to him. And then he wouldn't realize that. But I'm like, babe, listen. No, you need to exercise the right to tell them they need to talk to your wife.
Yeah, she did.
Okay,
that's
a conversation. No, my husband does not need to be counseling you because your baby daddy left you. No, he ain't gonna fix that for you. It's just so we had to, we like personal issues, business, no problem, but personal love life things. No, that's not, he's not going to do that.
That's right.
So he got to the point to where he's like, okay, I need to have a conversation with my wife. I'm going to text you her number right now. You got to go.
I run, y'all.
And then because they start showing it face, right? Yeah. Because at first he was like, babe, are you sure? No, this person, they really love you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then they really started showing things and evidences of what I was actually saying. Yeah. And, when things would show up, they would say little, snazzy comments about me and send little innuendos that were inappropriate. And then the pictures would come. And I was like, see, I told you. And the good thing about it is that my husband and I, we don't keep any secrets. So if you have sent my husband a picture that's inappropriate and I didn't say anything to you, that doesn't mean I don't know. Okay?
Absolutely. And you want to know something crazy, y'all? When this first was happening, I actually fought my wife. Yeah. Not like physical fighting, but I mean, I fought against. He defended it because he really sincerely believed that those women were not being manipulative. Yeah. And I'm saying that to again solidify, back up, support the point that I made prior to her telling you that when I was saying don't even have it there. Because I was that person, right? They
were using him for their emotional support.
But I didn't know that. Yeah. I just thought I was just being myself because that's who I've always been.
Yes.
But I never was married before, and I didn't understand again the rules of engagement. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was pure because I've done this with thousands of women before, and nothing has ever come of it. I mean, a lot of them did later on, like tell me stuff, but I didn't know while it was happening. I had no idea. And so again, you all, I hope you get the point in that what we're trying to say here is just don't even put yourself in that predicament. Yeah. Just cut it off. It's not worth it. And you'll find, especially when you cut that off, that here's another beautiful blessing that comes as a result of that. Your arguments don't last as long anymore. Yeah. Let me tell you why? Because you got no other outlet. No, seriously.
That's right.
Seriously.
I gotta fix this.
I gotta fix this because I can't hold this forever. I need to talk to somebody. So you go back in, baby. Listen, I don't even know what I did wrong. I'm sorry. What did I do wrong? I don't even know what I did wrong. But you fix the problem. You get back to love a lot faster when you operate with these rules, these guidelines. So again, we're not trying to have you live some type of very strict life. You can't look. That's not the point. We're just really trying to lay down some ways of engaging with your mate and your spouse so that you guys can be blessed and avoid things, right? You don't need to go through everything. Right. Maybe my wife went through that so that you ladies or you gentlemen that are watching, however many of you, don't have to because she went through it. Why repeat the same mistake when somebody's already told you, hey, here's where that road leads? Yeah. So anyway, that's
some signs.
Yeah, let's talk about the last part here. And then we'll close out with talking about our online conference, which we got some good stuff to share with you on that. So some signs, baby. Let you go for it.
Yes, I tell you. Oh, sorry. Let's get back to my notes.
All right.
So some signs that you may be involved in emotional cheating is you spend more time alone with that particular person intentionally. It may start out like as a work spouse or a work husband, work wife, or whatever. And then it morphs into, oh well, let's go have coffee, just the two of us, or oh, what are you doing this weekend, or it's just, you delete text messages. You delete emails before your spouse, before your husband or wife comes around. You have their Facebook page on private, or you hide your passcode. You have a passcode that your spouse doesn't have on your cell phone. Or
a really good one to help you out, because sometimes our mind plays tricks on us and we want to block out the fact that they're talking to me. Well, I don't do any of those things she said, but she's still talking to you. So here's a really good one. If in any capacity you find yourself preparing yourself in some way because you're going to be in that other person's presence. Mm-hmm. So whether it's you preparing yourself physically, right? Yes. So you're going to work. I mean, all of a sudden, you never really dressed up all the way before, but all of a sudden, because these things happen, you find yourself dressing up almost every day now at work, way more, right? You wear extra makeup. Gentlemen, you might put on extra cologne. You want to shave more. Now, if you find yourself sprucing yourself up anyway, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it is, if you find yourself sprucing yourself up in any way for someone else outside of your mate,
you may be involved in an emotional cheating relationship. And also, here's the deal, you also, if you find yourself sharing intimate details with someone else outside of your relationship, that may be an emotional cheating relationship. If you get great news and your husband or your wife is not the first person you call, whoever you're calling, you may be in an emotional cheating relationship with them. I talked about problems. You give gifts like, oh, I just brought you
a candy.
I just brought you a candy. Oh, I had just stopped by Dunkin' Donuts and I got, here's some Starbucks. I mean, seriously. And you begin to depend on that. I'm not saying there's something wrong with giving
an
gifts,
act of kindness,
and
right.
Because we encourage kindness.
Totally.
You know?
But if you find yourself continually being kind on a daily basis,
to the same person,
on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis,
if you happen to be in a meeting and the two of you, your conversations linger, and you end up, your hugs now go from being innocent to now compassionate. You understand? So those things are, that's the second stage to actual physical cheating.
So baby, you mean to tell me if I upgrade from the church hug to somebody of the opposite sex?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Okay, I got something I need to tell you. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm sorry. I'll behave. Go ahead, baby. I'm listening.
You're too funny. I tell you, if anything ever happens to all of our businesses, then I'm putting you on stand-up comedy. You will do well. So, but anyway, it's a very, very serious subject, and want you guys to really understand the impact that it can have in your lives. And again, communication is what will diminish the power of emotional cheating or the effectiveness in your relationship. Proper communication with your spouse. Yeah. Remember, guys, men are going to gravitate to the place that they feel like they receive the most honor.
That's right.
And if it's not in your home, then they'll be more apt to accept an emotional cheating relationship.
That's right.
Because they feel like that person honors you where they may not receive that honor at home. And the same thing with women. Like if you're a wife and you are avoiding conflict in your marriage just for the sake of peace, and I'm not saying that that's not a bad thing, but it's because we need to learn how to communicate. I'm so grateful that we chose that topic for our online seminar because it's so powerful, and we actually have it available in our 5 series webinar, which is amazing because this is like a $700 product that we're going to give to you in the online seminar. So it's so profound, it's amazing. So I'm really excited for them to get that information. But for example, like if you are like avoiding conflict in your relationship, that's not a bad thing to try to keep the peace. But if it's at the stake of you not communicating your true feelings to your spouse, then you're just creating file cabinets that are building up, and eventually one day you'll be angry enough to say everything. And then it may be too late, because we've counseled couples that for years, oh, we didn't argue. Oh, no, we good. You didn't argue because you hid your true feelings.
Yes.
You didn't argue because you lied.
Right.
You said that you weren't really bothered.
Right.
When the fact of the matter is, like, babe, when your boy came over and he wanted to eat up all the food and I had to cook a second dinner, honey.
That bothered me.
That bothered me. I mean, that's trivial, of course, but that can be a real issue, and real issues like that do come up in relationships, and do come up in marriages. So we just want to really urge you guys to just be mindful of emotional cheating, and couples and marriages are destroyed. So don't take it lightly. Anytime you're doing any type of activity that you cannot include your significant other in on, then it's probably leading to an emotional cheating relationship if you're not already there. And if you are there, then what are some things they can do to get out of it?
Well, literally, you just need to cut it off. You need to just end it. I would say end it because, I mean, literally, we already talked about all the reasons, so I don't want to reiterate that. So end it. End it. The other thing is this: confess it. Confess it to your spouse. Because what confession does is it just makes you more right. It puts you in a more righteous place. And it's not up to your spouse to go and attack the other person. That's not the whole point. The point is to bring the two of you closer together.
Right.
So confession now, even though the other person may be bothered initially, once those initial feelings, remember, those are temporary emotions. Once they subside and they come down and go away, guess what now shows up in her heart? Trust. If that was me sharing something that I did with her, she now trusts me more. Right. Because now she's like, wow, he had no reason to, I didn't even suspect it. And he said it. Wow, I'm grateful. So don't be afraid. That's the one thing. Remember, fear is not from God. God didn't give us fear. He gave us faith. Right. Fear is the opposite, right? We have Christ and then you have Antichrist. You know, Jesus was hung up on the cross. The Antichrist symbol is the reverse cross. So it's the opposite. So if fear is what the devil gave us, then faith must be from God. So have a little faith in the things that we're sharing with you tonight and go and engage in them. No matter how much your mind may fight against you, no matter how much your concerns may tell you to do otherwise, right? Remember, there's a little sidebar for you all. We teach this on our TCC website. You can check it out, the CEOcircuit.com, CEOcircuit.com. We teach a lot on these principles and philosophies of personal development. Here's a personal development one that'll help you here. Your mind's job is to keep you safe based on what it already knows. Let me repeat that. Your mind's job is to keep you safe based on what it already knows. So if there's an experience that is outside of the realm of what your mind has experienced, then your mind says fear, caution, danger, beware, don't go over there. So here's the crazy thing. It serves you if you're about to walk off the curb and a truck is coming, right? That will serve you. But guess what? It also will disturb your future if there are things that your mind has never experienced. Like I remember the first month I wanted to make $10,000 a month. My mind went haywire. I mean, I started having every kind of doubt. You know you can't do it. You don't even have $10 in your account. This is what was going on in my head. But guess what? I told my mind, thank you for sharing. And I went ahead and I started pushing forward. And guess what? I created that reality. And so here's my point, is to say, if what we're saying is occurring for you in the realm of fear because you find yourself being identified today as an emotional cheater, or you have any of these challenges, don't let your mind stop you from engaging in these solutions we're sharing. It's only because it's never experienced it before. I promise you that. Just like tomorrow, if that was to ever try to happen again, my wife, she would come quickly to me, and she knows that she will be safe with me because her mind has experienced that place with me already. So all I'm saying to you all is be careful and don't let your mind get in the way of God and the Holy Spirit trying to move you in the right direction. And so with that being said, you all, let's kind of shift gears here really quickly, just for the sake of time. Hopefully, maybe if you find a really good one, honey. Okay. But while you're doing that, let me go ahead and just share this real quick. Hey guys, listen, the online conference we've been promoting for the last couple of weeks now. Actually, it's only been 2 weeks, maybe. This would be week 2. Week 2. So we've been promoting for 2 weeks. It's coming up December 26th. We did the poll. Thank you all for those of you who participated. We appreciate it. December 26th is the final date. Here's what we've done. We've made it available to be able to be downloaded for those who register, of course, to be able to be downloaded later on. All right, this is really huge, y'all. We've confirmed pretty much all the speakers. There's one right now, he's on the fence, but he's going to do it. I'm going to talk to him after this video. And I can't tell you guys, wait till you hear from these people, y'all. We didn't just pick random individuals just out of the marketplace. We hand selected
some of our top mentors. Yes. Who are going to be a part of this that we've just, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, people pay hundreds, thousands to spend time with some of these individuals. And you're going to have access to them. And let me tell you this, though, because we had a lot of information to cover in a little bit of time here. The online conference, the actual pre-registration is what's open. Registration get started, and I want to say this, I'm going to put this out there so you guys can hold us to it. In the next 24 to 48 hours is our goal to open up registration. So please stay tuned for that. Make sure you've liked the Covenant Marriage page so that once it opens up, you'll be notified of that. Let me caution you all as well. 410 people have already pre-registered. 410. Now, that was as of last night. Was the last time we checked it, baby?
Yeah.
Yesterday. So it may be more today. I just haven't even looked yet. But here's why I bring that up. Our webinar platform, we have 500 seats reserved for this webinar platform. It's going to be live, okay? So we've only been able to secure 500. We're working to see if we can get more, but I can't promise you all that. But I do want to say this. That means that right now, once we open up registration, it is safe to assume those 410 people pre-registered because they want to register. Right. So it's safe to assume that all 410 are going to go ahead and get registered right away. That only leaves about 90 seats open for anybody else who wants to be a part of it. I highly encourage you. Do not hesitate. I mean, I forgot the way my buddy Eric Eve says it. If you're gonna do it eventually, you may as well do it immediately. Thank you, baby. You complete me. All right. So that's exactly what I was about to say. Keep the party going. I wish I had a mic. I'd have dropped it as soon as she said that. And so it's Eric saying, not mine. That's true, baby. But stolen, Eric. We stole it. All right. So look. There's the point though. Is 90. There's only 90 left, guys. So don't hesitate. I'm emphasizing this because I know some people are gonna start blowing up my phone. Obi, it says it's closed. I tried to tell you. Get registered, all right? So get registered. Encourage your friends to do the same. And so we'll open up and we'll give you the website. Like I said, in somewhere in the next 24 to 48 hours, we'll give you the website to actually get registered on. Again, make sure you tune into Covenant Marriage Academy, the actual Facebook page, so that you can be kept in the loop on the information as it comes out. Baby, is it okay? I'm gonna ask my wife for permission because she doesn't want to give too much away. Okay. But honey, is it okay? Can I share with them like some of the topics? Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Okay, so real quick, y'all. Here are, I have to look at my phone here. So here are some of the topics. I'm not even gonna tell you who's coming yet. Oh, by the way, we're going to be doing Facebook Lives more frequently. This one is going to stay steadfast in terms of Relationship Tuesdays, but between now and December 26th, we're doing more. In fact, one of the things we want to do is do lives interviewing the actual speakers so that you can get a free preview, if you will, of what's to come. So so right now we have a total of 8 seminar topics, right? Yeah. And the first one is how to join the secret society of happy marriages. Whoa. What a title. Okay, we'll let you in on the fact that we'll be covering that segment. Yeah, we'll cover that. All right. And number 2, the second session is the sacred search. Waiting, dating, and not mating. That's the message for the singles. And we have a powerful, powerful couple that we absolutely love and adore. And they're going to cover that. They did it the way God has designed, and who better else to show you how to pave the way for your future other than someone who's done it themselves. That's right. That's right. Exciting. The other one is stop digging your grave with your teeth. Oh my goodness. Your health is your wealth. Can I? Very quickly, honey, because we have run out of time. Okay. Yeah. This one is by a very prominent naturopathic doctor. He is so amazing. He's an author, and he is over a school. I mean, it's just. Let me say this about him. We've become really good friends with this gentleman, like in our personal lives. And I'll say this: this gentleman knows how to stop heart attacks with cayenne pepper. Okay, if that doesn't even get your attention, let me move on. All right, so listen, number 4. The number 4 session is go ahead, honey. Turn 5 into 10 and watch God do it again. Top secrets of wealth accumulation in your union. Now, this is going to be so profound, and we're so excited to be able to introduce this because we've had so many people asking us, how do you guys handle your finances? What do you do, and how do you get to where you are? And you understand? So we want to give you the opportunity to hear from our mentor. We're not even going to talk about it. This is going to come from one of the people that have actually taught us financial secrets. So, and who's worth over $400 million. The last time we checked. Yeah. Over $400 million. So he's going to be a part of this as well. So yeah. Okay, so session number 5, the ultimate mindset. Inspect what you expect. Yeah. Obviously, it's the 6 inches between our ears that we need to is the most valuable real estate. So number 6, things men wish all women knew. Whoa. Okay.
For the lady.
Yep. Number 7, why men should be kings and priests. That's going to be a big one. And we got a special thing just for that segment, actually, that we're going to do before. So stay tuned. We'll give you all that information. And then the last one is
the call.
Yeah, having a Christ-like mind.
Yeah.
And of course, so we're going to have a really, really prominent bishop sharing on that part. He just confirmed today that he will do it. So we're excited. We really are, y'all. God is moving mountains to make this special. So anyway, listen, I did promise my wife that we could take one question here. Okay. And just because of the sake of time, we're going to handle it really quickly. So, baby, did you pick one?
I did. I actually can't find it, but I remember what it is. Okay. Someone asked, how do you handle communication with an ex if you have children from a previous relationship? So do you want to go there?
Oh yeah, we can definitely go there. It's interesting because we can relate to that. My wife was married. This is her actually a second marriage.
Yes.
And in that first marriage, she has 2 children. 2 of our sons are from that marriage. And I had a daughter from a previous young lady that I was almost engaged to. And so it's interesting because we're a blended family. And it's interesting, y'all, because here's why I say that. That was a challenge we had to deal with in the beginning of our marriage. And yet again, we had to find our own way. We had to find our own path to make it work. And here's the crazy thing about it. The exes are always trying to find a way to get back in. I'm not kidding. I'm just keeping it real with you all. The exes are always trying to find a way to get back in. Now, the thing that kills me is they're exes for a reason. But here's the deal. There are still children involved. There are still other lives outside of our own. And we still need to show kindness because the children, for them, that's their mom, that's their dad. You know, these people still matter. So to us, they're an extended part of the family. So we welcome them into the house. We welcome into our love. We welcome into our family from that perspective of, hey, you're still family, right? They're not somebody that I used to be in a relationship. We look at them as family. But we had to set certain rules in place when we realized that the exes were still trying to get in, still trying to get back with us. And so we started setting things up like, you know what? If it's not about the children, there's no need to talk. What else is there to talk about? You have to put these rules in place because if not, you open up Pandora's box again. Remember, all the devil needs is a crack in the wall and he enters the building. And so for us, we sealed the crack. Oh, we thought you were family. Oh, you're trying to be more than family. Okay, so here's how we're going to move forward. From here on out, if it doesn't have anything to do with children, I don't want to talk about it. All right, I'm not being unkind. I'm not being mean. I'm just being genuine and sincere about how I would like to organize and have this relationship show up in my life. And until you're able to get to this space, I'm sorry, that's the way we're going to have to keep it. So that's the rules my wife and I have with each other and with the other individuals as well. So hopefully that blessed you, is that, yes, you still need to be in communication. Yes, you still need to be in contact with these people because there are other lives called children outside of you that matter because they may be your ex, but that's still their parent. But how you organize yourself with that person is what we're helping you with.
And then remember to not talk negatively about your ex-spouse, especially to your child, because your child is going to look at your ex-spouse and see themselves in that person and think, wow, if my dad or my mom is like that, then so am I. So it's so important too that you have a healthy balance in your issues with your ex. You don't communicate those things to your child. And I know sometimes when it's a challenging relationship, it's hard to really hide when there's conflict. And we're not saying to lie to your child, but I mean, just, do your best to remember the child in that very challenging situation. So we hope that this has been helpful.
Absolutely. And so anyway, you all continue to pray for us, continue to pray for the lives that are being blessed through us. We will continue to pray for you. Again, we're excited about this online conference where you get to unleash the best version of you for 2018. So stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned. More to come. God bless you all. And
take care, take charge. And we're Obi and Belinda Indu. We know we didn't introduce ourselves at the beginning, but we're with Covenant Marriages Academy, where we strengthen strong marriages and we help all others to discover their soulmates. God bless you, and we look forward to your beautiful future.
All right, you guys. Good night. See you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.